All right. Actually, my mind has been a little bit frazzled the past couple days with all the political things that have been going on, and Florida is once again the epicenter of invalid voting. So crazy things happen. I was actually down at Ground Zero today, witnessing the protests and all of that going on. But that's a completely different topic, different story. Behind me, that is the house that I plan on buying with XRP. It's actually a one of the castles in Scotland. So anyhow, I want to get started. Have a decent topic for today, and really, as I've been monitoring chatter on YouTube, the comments on my YouTube, on the other videos on the channel, Twitter, comments that I see to other people on Twitter. There's really a lot of these comments that are floating around that are questioning the, I don't know, validity or really the viability of XRP, and they're asking why XRP. Many have really cast quite a few aspersions and doubt that XRP really has any kind of potential for growth, and they anticipate it being under $1 and that it really isn't going anywhere because it's not being used. Some have stated that XRP has no real use case, that XRP has no real value, and that Ripple is building the RippleNet solution without XRP. And so you have that side of it, and then you have others that are critiquing and criticizing XRP as the banker's coin, that really their statement is that the entire purpose of cryptocurrency is to escape from the banks. Hi, this is Jeff with the HODL Report. Join me on today's video as we explore XRP. If you enjoyed today's video, please give a thumbs up, leave some comments. I think that this topic will ignite some passion and some fury, so I'm anticipating that, seeing what kind of comments we can get. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. In my description, I have a link for the Ledger Nano S. So if you care about protecting your digital assets that you're investing in, go ahead and get the Ledger Nano S. At this point, anything that is generated from that, any of the commissions generated, I am going to start running contests with that money. So right now there's a little bit coming in. Adam Stanger gave an idea of a contest. I'm fermenting that right now, trying to figure out exactly what to do contest wise, and I'll be rolling that out. So stay tuned for that. Now, I feel that first and foremost, what I need to address is the bank criticism. Now, in previous videos, I've stated that banks aren't going away, at least not in the short term. In my opinion, banks still serve a purpose. They are serving a purpose. They have served a purpose, and that purpose really is the value for function of savings and investing, being a trusted and accepted source or intermediary that's used by really a majority of the world's population to hold and continue to hold their money. People need some place to keep their investments and savings, period. Somewhere that's easy to access, easy to understand, and somewhere that's safe. Banks, even though they might have done bad, even though they might have been at the epicenter of the financial crash in 2008 due to the mortgage issue, but a lot of that is tracked back to what the government actually allowed the banks to do. The banks don't have full control over lending as we think they might, especially not in the mortgage sense. And the government gave them a lot of flexibility or forced them into being flexible. So we can't forget about the government side of it and the government responsibility for forcing banks into providing and creating the kind of loans that created the financial disaster. So now the thing is, if banks disappear, which they won't, but if they do, then some other corporate entity is going to step in to replace them. Is it going to be a Coinbase or a Binance or I don't know, a Robinhood? you know, or one of the many others that are popping up, and Uphold, they're all going to end up being a banking type of institution. At the end of the day, it just might be a little variation on the traditional bank, so in the bank sense. Now, banks and financial institutions have been around for hundreds of years. Again, people need them, people want them, and they might take people for granted and put their profits ahead of people's savings, but at the end of the day, people need them. That type of thought process in terms of what banks do has to change. They need to really provide more incentive, again, for people to put their money in there. And I think we're going to see that with the decentralization, with the digital assets. Banks are going to then start entering into the competitive nature of things in the capitalist sense, to say, well, now we want the customers. What is it going to take for the banks to recruit customers? Because customers are going to flee the banks to other banking solutions. Again, whether that's an online solution, a digital asset solution, or another bank. So now we're entering back into the market economy, which is very healthy. Again, now if banks die out due to being irrelevant, technically speaking, I don't believe that banks as an overall concept are going to die out. But if they do start dying out, becoming irrelevant from the brick and mortar sense, I guess, they will be replaced by something that's more technically relevant, and again, an exchange or a financial company that acts as a custodian to people's savings, whether it's fiat or digital asset. Cryptocurrency or digital assets are an important part of our economy as we move forward. I think we all can acknowledge what's happening. I think the big financial institutions are acknowledging the fact that digital assets are going to be the cornerstone of economic growth in the very near future. Now, many people are also able to build and develop their financial independence based on digital assets. But these digital assets and Bitcoin and altcoins are not going to get rid of banks. And again, not in the short term, maybe in the long term, but right now, today, it's not going to happen. So if that's your mindset, that you think that, oh, I'm going to invest in Bitcoin because I don't need banks, think about it from a global perspective, and that isn't going to happen right now. Now, just as Uber hasn't gotten rid of taxis, have they impacted the business of taxis? Yes, they have. Airbnb hasn't gotten rid of hotels. Has it impacted hotels? I'm sure it has somewhat, and it's changed the way people travel. I know I use Airbnb frequently when I travel overseas, and I use Uber frequently when I travel domestically. Now, eBay and Amazon have not gotten rid of retail completely. Have they had an impact on retail? Yes, for sure. 100% they have. Organizations like Sears completely ignored the fact that the online presence of an Amazon or an eBay could completely undermine their business, and they didn't try to change their business asset. Plus, there's so much more that if you get into Sears and Kmart and all of the other entities that they acquired, what the failed mindset of their business was that actually led to their demise. But that's a completely different topic. Now, when we look, this is really how the world works, right? So now, from an investment perspective, those investing in XRP, Bitcoin, or many of the other altcoins are 100% the early adopters right now, today, way before the arrival of the large financial institutions, the banks, and all the rest. Now, even with that, so here we are, we're early adopters, we're at the forefront, but yet there's still people critiquing others that are in this space, thinking they know better because they have become the gurus of their Bitcoin, so they become very Bitcoin centric. It amazes me, though, that with all the news that's available right now on Ripple, RippleNet, Xcurrent, and really the recent launch of XRapid, that there's still negative, seemingly unresearched comments that are on both YouTube and on Twitter. Now, Ripple and XRP are real solutions. They are proving real utility. The financial and the banking markets globally, to include domestic transaction as well as cross-border transaction, is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. For anyone to question the validity of taking on this financial space, that it's not financially lucrative in some way, is simply not looking at the numbers accurately. Now, Ripple has taken on this space because the only other player, Swift, is using outdated technology with an outdated process. Ripple has rolled out their direct competition to Swift, which is the XCurrent platform, which is actually a better and more robust financial messaging solution to beat Swift, but that's not enough. And you see that even Swift is introducing and launching their GPI solution, but Ripple has taken it two solutions beyond what Ripple has taken two solutions beyond what Swift has accomplished, even with their GPI platform. And Ripple is offering their XVIA platform. They're offering a financial exchange as well as liquidity through XRapid. So the entire RippleNet solution is, number one, is built on the XRP ledger. So for those to say that RippleNet or Ripple is not going to benefit XRP, it's crazy. Being that the fact that RippleNet is built on the XRP ledger, the concept of Ripple is really based on the fact that they're utilizing more than just XCurrent. So the competitive edge that Ripple has to beat Swift and really any other competitor that may try to enter this space is that Ripple is a full solution. They're a complete solution to include messaging, the financial transaction of the currencies, and the liquidity to actually accommodate trillions of dollars in daily transactions. Now, of course, Ripple can continue selling their XCurrent platform to compete with Swift, but like I just said, the RippleNet solution for full implementation is a three-pronged solution. It's not a one-pronged solution. It's not a Swift. It's not just about XCurrent. It's XCurrent, XVIA, and XRapid. And Ripple is built to utilize XRP for its liquidity. Now, this trio is really what makes RippleNet solution the most advanced solution that's currently available for cross-border payments and remittance payments. A solution that is lightning fast, meaning transactions within seconds, a solution that is super low cost, and that is super efficient. And obviously, there's a lot more to it. I've made other videos explaining the various aspects of XCurrent, XVIA, and XRapid and talking about RippleNet. Now, to those who keep saying that XRP isn't being utilized by any of the RippleNet customers, well, they're wrong. XRapid recently launched. We all know that. We saw it happen. It happened about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and large RippleNet customers are beginning to implement XRapid. RippleNet customers tested the XRapid solution and found it to be an extremely needed part of the solution to pair in with XCurrent. Now, with the successful adoption, so we already see a number of the banking organizations that are starting to utilize XRapid. So to say that XRP isn't being used is really a premature thought and an uneducated or at least unresearched thought, being again that we know that XRapid was just recently launched to full functionality. So if it was just recently launched for full functionality, that means that it was in beta prior to that. So now that it is completely launched and live, and we have organizations that are successfully utilizing the XRapid solution. It's just a matter of time that the majority of Ripple's customers will be utilizing XRapid. And if they're utilizing XRapid, they will be using XRP. Again, RippleNet was built to be the most efficient using XRapid or XRP. Let me take a break. Hang on. Now, XRP is currently being used and tested also for web monetization and web transactions in the real world. So we have real world utility through solutions like the XRP Tipbot, through Coil, and through an organization called Omni that allows you to go on and sell your or rent your stuff for a digital asset. Now, I've gone on to Omni. I think it's a little premature. It's in development phases, but it's the concept that counts. So if you can go in and rent your stuff, you can go in and you can take an Uber, you can rent your house, you can do an Airbnb, you can rent your cars through I forget the car share website or company where you can actually rent your car out. So Omni makes sense if you want to rent out a high-end mountain bike, for instance, or whatever it might be. You have a kayak or a canoe, or you want to rent something out and there's people that need it for the short term and they're in your area. It begins to make sense as an overall business concept. But the point being is that they're monetizing the concept through XRP. Now, Codius, I talked about that in a previous video, but Codius is using the XRP ledger as a solution for apps to build and to monetize. Now, they don't necessarily have to use XRP, but if you're utilizing the XRP ledger, you can accept and utilize XRP, but it also allows you to use the other digital assets that are out there. Now, we look at Xspring. Xspring is still in development. It's still coming to market, but the concept of Xspring is really or Spring, I guess is the better pronunciation, is expanding a fund in support of or to give a boost for those projects that are going to build or are building on the XRP ledger. I think this is really significant. So this is the incubator for those other companies out there that will be building on the XRP ledger. We don't really see any of these things going on within any of the other digital assets. I think Ethereum might be really the only other solution out there right now that has a lot of other companies that are utilizing the Ethereum blockchain and building their own tokens off of the Ethereum network to develop. So I think that's where XRP is, and the overall XRP ledger is offering an extremely competitive solution in a needed space. But if we look at Ripple and RippleNet, what their primary focus is, but there's a lot more to the overall solution. Now, a large percentage of banks and financial institutions will be using XRP in short order as they expand their implementation of RippleNet. And the full expansion of RippleNet, again, is the full trio. Right now it would be the duo, so it would be the X Current and the XRapid until XVIA comes to full functionality. Web monetization is growing rapidly and will very soon replace, or probably not replace, at least compete against, serious competition against online ads as a source of direct revenue for content creators. I don't know what that time period might be, what that soon might be. It could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be 2 years, until it comes into full realization and full utilization. The point is that people don't like the ads. People are escaping the commercials. People don't want to sit and watch TV because of the commercials. It's just too much. People flee to YouTube or they flee to Netflix, and they're trying to escape the commercials. But yet here we have content creators, whether it's on YouTube or blogging, and there has to be a way to monetize their content. And so we have the very unique aspect of web monetization through Coil, through the XRP tip bot, utilizing XRP and the XRP ledger. And then we have the other solution in this same space, which is Brave, using the Batcoin. So I think this is very important. If we look at what's happening in web monetization, this is the direction that things are moving into. Now, so to all of those out there that are still looking down on XRP, you really need to go back and do your own research. There is monumental change coming to a financial institution near you. And in order for the banks and financial institutions and web solutions to have enough liquidity from XRP, the price of XRP has to go up. I don't know exactly what that number is. I'm not going to forecast huge numbers. I know in a previous video I talked about those because those are the numbers that are being talked about online. There's others that have a much better grasp of analyzing the numbers of what's needed for the full expansion of liquidity. And, you know, those numbers are pretty big as stated. But the fact is that right now, based on the value of XRP, it isn't at the point that is needed for the full liquidity to accommodate all of the needed solutions from every aspect that we just talked about, from the banks and the financial institutions through the web monetization. For XRP to go up, we need utility. And I'll address that again. Utility, utility, utility. You sprinkle in a little bit of FOMO, and that's where you see the price of XRP starting to rise, and it'll probably rise dramatically. If you enjoyed today's video, please give a thumbs up, leave some comments. I hope I fired up some people to leave some comments. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you're concerned about protecting your digital assets, check out the link to the Ledger Nano S in the description. Before I sign off though, quick statement. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you any kind of financial advice on this video. I'm not telling you to go out and buy digital assets. I'm not telling you to go out and buy XRP, giving my own opinions on what's happening here. But if I am going to give you any kind of advice, then let it be this. Do your own research. Invest only what you can afford. Invest only what you can afford to lose. And don't buy or sell based on the FUD or FOMO that's spread online. With that, I truly look forward to seeing you on my next video. And until then, keep on hodling your crypto.